Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are we doing today? Good to see you. We're playing up against my man Arnell. He's playing red-green Oden, and I have got the new Uta. Oh my gosh, Oda, I wish. We got the new Uta with, you know, some of the additions from EB01, and I actually realized that after I mulligan right there, that I end up losing a very, very important card in this matchup that I was not very keen on, because I haven't played any of the red-green Oden. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't played it, but I haven't played against it per se. And yeah, that backlight is extremely important in this matchup. There are some extremely annoying 5-cost cards that Oden puts down onto the board, and backlight just becomes almost invaluable in this matchup. But I'll just go ahead and pass it. We both pass our first turn. He's going to go over to 3 Dawn. Swing 5 I'll take pretty happily. And he puts down the Nekomamushi blocker. Nekomamushi is a 0 counter, but 3-cost 4K blocker. But in Oden, it does become a 1K counter at least. So pretty solid card, all things considered. He is going to counter out with Mountain God there, and I'll go ahead and put down Zoro. I wanted to have Zoro onto the board early just because I knew that I would probably have to swing into his leader, being a 6K leader here more often than not. I do actually end up forgetting it quite a bit, but that's on me. But the best card in the deck, arguably, for red-green Oden is Denjiro, and he gets it down onto the board this turn. Denjiro is extremely annoying. It's also very sticky and difficult to deal with sometimes, so I'm not looking forward to my opponent having that card, and I'll just go ahead and use the new Genesis to pick up a 2K counter. I know that I'm probably going to have to deal with a lot of pressure these upcoming turns, so I'm just going to go ahead and get down Brook, putting down Nami as well to pick up the Zoro off the effect. Our hand is looking a little counterless. Like, we have a tiny bit, but we've got like 5 kind of dead cards in hand right now. Going second, I'm not going to be able to slap down the Useless Captain Kid as quickly as possible that I'd like to as well. And he goes ahead and puts down another Denjiro. So this is just bad news for us. He gets to reactivate 2 Dawn because of this. His leader is going to be a 6K once he attaches Dawn, and he's swinging 8 into my Zoro. Pretty much everything about this just doesn't feel great. I'm not looking forward to countering out of a lot of this, but I do counter out of this first swing, and now we've got a 9K coming into Zoro. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to let that one go. Bluno is pretty solid here, though, because I'm not entirely sure of what removal red-green Oden potentially has in this matchup, but I'm just going to go ahead and use Nami, swing 5, it doesn't connect, and I get a 2K counter. The hilarious part about this, though, is that we sit here in silence for a long time because Arnell decided to kind of play a joke on me, which was pretty sick, and as I'm swinging 5 into 6, I'm waiting for him to counter, but he's not countering because I'm 6. And then I just realized, I'm like, oh my god, we've been sitting here forever. I've been talking about how I was attacking you and nothing was working. So now I've got decisions to make. I can't swing into his leader, and I could play down 7 cost, or I could try and swing heavy into his Denjiro here using the what is it? I'm Invincible. Unfortunately, I bottom deck an 8-cost Kid right here. He does block out of this. Hilariously enough, I forgot he had a blocker, if I'm being honest. And I swing in, and he counters out with a 2K Yamato, as well as the 4-cost Yamato that, even if it doesn't have counter, he can use that nice little 1K. So these Denjiros are absolutely terrifying. He can play down pretty much any card this turn and get back 4 Dawn immediately. So lucky for us, his hand size is not amazing, but it's still a pretty terrifying spot to be in. He is going to attach 1 to Denjiro, but play down the Izo, which allows that on-play rested Dawn. So now he ramps back up to 5 Dawn, KOs my Nami, swings again, ramps back up, gets all of his Dawn back. I'm terrified. I'm staring down a potential billion K swing, which is what we look at. And he swings really, really heavy into my my life. So I know that the following turn, I'm counting out all the counter power that I have. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, I more than likely have enough to get out of his swing. But these Denjiros cannot be allowed to live. I could put down 8-cost Kid, but the Dendro is just too scary. I know he's only got like 2 cards in hand. I end up picking up Uta off the effect here. I'm going to use I'm Invincible again to try and KO the Denjiros. But I do actually start with a 9k swing. He uses the Ezo ability to bring down my Uta swing by 2k and then counters out of it with a Otama. This does leave him with no cards in hand though, at least. So I know that I can get rid of them. So I can now swing 7 and use the I'm Invincible to swing yet again just another like 9k, 10k. But to be honest with you, not that it's relevant in this exact moment because my opponent had no counter, I don't remember if Ezo is minus 2k for the turn or if it's minus 2k for the attack. But I'm pretty much putting my opponent on attacking into my life, me being able to counter out, but he actually decides to go a little bit different of a route. He's just going to swing extremely heavy into my life, leaving Ezo active here. So that he can probably have a better chance of going for game the following turn. Little does he know that's exactly what I wanted, because now with 8-cost Kid, I can just look so good. Like, I can just put this card down, play down a blocker. For him to deal with this, it's going to be very, very tricky. I swing 5 again, realizing afterwards that his leader is 6. So I will go 6, pick up the Brook, and now it's time for the good old-fashioned Kid into Uta play. I get to attach that final Dawn, and then I'll pass it right back over. Getting over, you know, KOing Kid this turn is going to be extremely annoying for my opponent. He can't really do too much. I believe the only card that he has to rest Uta would be a 3-cost Ezo from OP01 if he does have the card. But even still then, it's not a guarantee that he KOs Kid, especially with us having like what looks like 12 cards in hand. So gotta love Uta and how much this deck draws. It's absolutely insane. I think he's just considering if he wants to drop the Ezo. If he does, and which he does, yeah, he's pretty much going full dedication on killing Kid here. And if he doesn't, it's looking pretty bleak on surviving the following turn. Granted, I don't believe we have another I'm Invincible in hand, so that's not like the greatest thing for us to counter out, but I decided to just drop a ton of my 1k counters. Granted, I think I only had 1 or 2k counters here, but swings 12, we do counter up to 13 to get out of it. He is going to pass. Not swinging with the Ezo, obviously, just leaving 1 Dawn active. I was trying to think if there was maybe like a card that I'm not thinking of that only costs 1 Dawn for him to reactivate. But now I can swing 9 pretty safely, and then I can either just play down another blocker, you know, multiple blockers, or I can just swing really heavy with Brook. And I'm kind of deciding on what is the best option. I'm looking at how much counter power I have to get out of a lot of the swings the following turn anyways. And I'm just going to go pretty big here. He is going to get out of it, though, with a Radical Beam as well as a Yamato. But he realizes that he's 1k short, so he has to drop the 2k Yamato here. And I do rest the 2 to play down Bluno. You know, 2 blockers for him to get through and KOing the useless Kid. Yeah, there's no shot here. Kid was definitely the savior for us this game. But yeah, this was a pretty terrifying first round for us, because I thought that with those Denjiros, I was just in a absolutely horrific spot. But I don't think my opponent really just has anything to get through not only both blockers here, but everything that I have going for myself as well. But we're gonna see him rest 8, or maybe not. I think he's considering a couple of options. Just going to attach 2 to lead and swing into the useless kid. I give him a 1k, pretty free for us, and he just plays down Oden, the 8 cost, which would have been really nice for him to have prior to us having useless kid, but we do end up getting game 1 here. Pretty solid, all things considered. I thought it was actually really terrifying how much I kind of underestimated the red-green law matchup, but I don't necessarily have like a lot of that incredible removal to deal with some of those 5 drops that are really annoying. So like Denjiro was obviously very terrifying for us that match. And now starting up a second game, I'm gonna be taking first this match. I end up finding backlight, so love to see that. Now any 5 cost card that I deem a threat is just gone off the field, and he's gonna pass with the 2 Dawn turn. I've got 3. I could play down Nami if I want to. I do think that the better play, though, is just to be swinging with leader, play out the Dracul Mihawk into the Brook into the Nami, so I can just be extremely aggressive this turn. I get to play out the Slash character rested, which then plays out Nami, so, I mean, this just kind of sets us up for success. If he does swing into the Brook with the 6, we can defend it. I know I'm only got 2 cards in hand. This Kiku does look pretty annoying, but I've got plenty of ways to draw cards, whether it's through Nami, whether it's through leader effect. We're probably going to be able to do quite a lot of damage this turn. So I'm going to use the Nami effect first, though, picking up Luffy. Sadly, bottom decking one of the kids. Hate to see that. I always love, like, that card just feels like the win condition in a lot of matchups. And, okay, yeah, I hadn't swung with leader yet. We swung with Nami. I think I had just accidentally left my leader rested. But we do end up swinging 6. He's going to take here. I'm going to swing 5 with my Mihawk and then a 7k. So getting him down to 1 life already is pretty massive for us. We're at 5 life, but the cards in hand situation is not looking pretty. Depending on what he does here, he can do a pretty substantial board wipe. We've only got 1k counter as well. Izo is actually pretty annoying for us. It's pretty annoying here. We're going to see a 6k into my Nami. I have to let that go, unfortunately. If he swings with the Izo into the Mihawk, I will just have to let that go as well. And sadly, there goes my board. I'm wondering if I can go for game, but my opponent does have like 7 to 8 cards in hand, so he's looking pretty healthy hand size wise over there. I do have the ability to play 7 costs, but he's just going to use Izo effect to -2 onto the Brook right here, so that attack is not going to go through. I am going to swing for 5 into Izo, knowing that I want to just play down Luffy this turn, and I do get it down, but just end up playing Brook, and I'll go ahead and pass. I don't really want to play Bluno because I know that it's going to get rested immediately by Izo. I just want to have Luffy on the board because going for game afterwards while having Luffy shouldn't be all that difficult, especially just having him at 0 life and us having, you know, 5 life cards as well. Like, we're just looking super healthy. The aggression this this game was like not enough for Oden to be able to handle. I also think that you know, just not having Denjiro early in this matchup just makes a few things a little more difficult for you. I'm not entirely sure what event situation he's running here, like how much, if any, that he's running, but goes ahead and rests the Brook. We're going to see 8k going into Brook. I have to give up my Luffy and 2 1k counters if I want to save this, so I think that I just end up letting it go. Yeah, unfortunate, but it is what it is. My opponent's still got 4 Dawn. We could see like the Nekomamushi blocker coming down, but we end up actually just seeing the Kitten Killer. So I think he's just trying to get bodies onto the board to kind of turn the game around a little bit if possible. But I do end up swinging 7 here. I forget that he's a 6k, and I draw into Uta. That's like my biggest failure, is that I constantly forget that he's a 7k. Which, I mean, it's on me, but just a little unfortunate. We do have him down to about 4 cards in hand now, though. So I'm going to go 7 into Kiku just because I'm thinking about playing a blocker this turn, and I don't want Kiku to be able to rest it extremely easily. If I do play 7-cost Kid, it makes it a little bit easier. But he decides to switch it up, uses the Ezo effect to bring my 7k down to a 5, and then counters out with the 8-cost Oden. I'm now considering whether I want to play 7-cost or not. I don't think it's bad here, but Kiku just kind of devalues it a little bit, you know, which is slightly unfortunate, but I do decide to just go with it. I think I was kind of deciding whether I wanted to use Backlight or not, but I put too many cards onto the board so that, you know, if he uses Kiku, it's really not that punishing, and I can probably defend my Luffy's enough, but Newgate's going to bring his leader up to a 7k, which is yet again kind of annoying, but I don't believe he has a way to get that extra Dawn attached to leader, so he's just gonna have to attach this, and now we know that we don't have to deal with a Radical Beam the following turn. And 8 into my Luffy is a little unfortunate. I'm considering defending it, but at the same time, if I just let it go, he's gonna attack into me, and I could potentially get like another I'm invincible, or you know, something useful. And look at that, I mean, quite literally just getting exactly what we want. Drawing into a Nami as well. We're gonna see a 7k with Killer and Kid, and I draw into a third I'm invincible to add insult to injury. I'm trying to see if I can find a fourth. Now we end up getting the 1k Uta though. I'm just trying to think if there is like any possible way that I can't get game this turn. And swinging 8 into life, he is able to just 1k counter out of this. I do end up attaching the rest of the Dawn, so this should be like a 13k, or no, excuse me, not a 13k, but I believe an 11. And he actually had 2k counters to get out of that, so he ended up getting a 2k counter out of his last life. I'm now sweating bullets because I know that there's no way for me to reactivate my Luffy, and he just attaches the rest to Ezo. There's no way we can get out of it, and we end up losing the second match. Man, I think there was potentially better ways that I could have done that. I think that maybe just going like 8 all around with all my characters would have been probably fine, but I got a little greedy, you know. I thought that for sure there was no way that I could lose in that situation, but solid matches all around. Hope you guys enjoyed. I just thought this was really fun. I've been enjoying some EB01 Uta, and Red Green Oden is I don't think it's a great deck, I'm gonna be honest, but I think it's a really fun deck, and I think it's got a lot of potential in the future if we do see some really good like Red Green Wano support. So yeah, love to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. All right, peace.